What the is going on?
I like to party.
Jesus, honey, wax much?
From Podcast One, this is Unwaxed.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Unwaxed
Sophia,
with your
Sistine
favorite
Stallone.
sisters, Sophia and Sistine Sloan. I wish you guys were here to see what that intro was before, just with no music.
Yeah, y'all are sleeping on our YouTube channel. All right, Unwaxed has a YouTube channel. You can watch the podcast live. I feel like I'm talking directly to you guys at home watching this, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. You know what? Actually, I'm not feeling good. That's a lie.
Why?
Sometimes when I feel really tired and like ugh, and just run down for no reason, you know, you wake up some days and you're just like,
No,
that.
totally.
Just
That's-
one of them days.
Today's been off.
Yeah.
I have to say, even this morning, I feel so bad. I just told Sistine I spaced on my best friend's birthday. I knew it
That's
was
the
this
worst.
week. I knew it was this week, but I swear I thought today was a certain day and I thought it was tomorrow. And so I was talking to her all morning, asking her advice on like photos and this and this. And I completely, and then all of a sudden I saw her post that it was, and by the way, I'm not one to forget birthdays. Like
But I am. I'll play devil's advocate. I am definitely one to forget. I don't know if it's just me or anyone else out there, but I'm terrible at remembering dates. So my little trick to know if it's a friend's birthday, I'll know it's in November or July, but I just don't know the exact day. Either I go on Snapchat because it'll put a little birthday cake next to that person's name, or I'll go to my Instagram, find last year's birthday post, look at the exact date, and do it that way.
No, but I'm so I am a planner. I write down everyone's birthdays in my calendar. But since we've been here, I feel like everything is so backwards. Like I'm trying to understand the area, and I just my sleep patterns are off. And I don't know if it's the humidity is just getting to my head, and now I'm just spacing. But whatever. But I was gonna say that speaking of this, like our emotions being totally weird. Last night I was lucid dreaming. I don't know if you've ever.
No way.
Yeah, and I haven't lucid dreamed in so long.
What
It was
exactly
weird.
is lucid dreaming?
So lucid dreaming, from what I know, is you can control your dreams. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there is a way to train yourself to.
I do know how to train yourself.
How do you train
Someone
yourself?
told me that basically right before, it's a certain level of REM sleep that you have to be in. So right when you first fall asleep, the first 15 minutes that you fall asleep, you have to have someone that you trust.
Mhm.
So it couldn't be you or Scarlett for me, because you guys would probably play a joke on me or film me or something. It has to be someone you trust, and they have to go up to you and whisper very carefully and quietly, "Sophia, you're dreaming. You're asleep."
Yeah.
ASMR. And basically that tells your brain that you are awake. I don't really know the rest of it.
No, I know that
but
there
that's how you
are
do it.
ways to kind of do it where you are supposed to set an alarm for like 3 a.m. and you wake yourself up and you write down what you remember.
Yeah, the writing down.
And it's
yeah.
also trying to recall one certain item in your dream, like a red ball bouncing. That means you're in a dream, you're lucid dreaming, or a watch that has like 8 hands. Like people start doing that. But sometimes I think that you can lucid dreams on purpose, like, or not on purpose, on accident, without really knowing you're about to do it. Like I last night woke up at like 2 a.m. and I went back to sleep. And don't you feel like when you wake up and then go back to sleep, your dreams are so much more vivid?
Because you're not technically fully asleep.
But that's what it is. Your mind
I
is
love
awake.
those dreams.
And right, it's so great because your mind's still awake and your body, I mean, is totally asleep. But my dream was I was just placed into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
That's terrifying.
So it kind of
Terrifying.
I agree, because the like those munchkins and like the things that people were getting sucked into, that kind of freaks me out. But it was really fun to like kind of control. And then I actually pictured like other rooms, like a cotton candy room where I like jump up and down, and I like created myself to have wings at one point.
If you were in that movie and you had to have one of the fate of those kids, which one would you just hate to have the most?
Okay,
There's Violet, the one that turned blue.
I think it'd be two of them. It'd be the violet turning into a blueberry, or getting sucked into that chocolate small tube. That kid, do you remember when he got sucked into that?
I do.
That would give me claustrophobia.
I have a freaking squirrel girl.
Which one's that
Remember
one?
that little prissy girl, and
Oh,
then
you
a
would
million
lose it.
squirrels drag her into a hole? Are you kidding?
That movie.
Chills.
Wait.
Oh my god.
That movie, and what is another film that's a children's film that is
Jumanji?
Jumanji?
Yo,
Jumanji.
you guys, Jumanji, not the one with Nick Jonas and The Rock.
No. That's
The
Child's
original-
Play. The real Jumanji.
The original was Robin Williams. in
Yeah,
that?
he was.
Okay, it's a great film now, but as a kid, nightmares. Terrified. It was so scary.
Yeah. You know what else is like that for me?
What?
Coraline. Who, if anyone actually likes Coraline out there,
Yeah.
you
Seek therapy. No,
that's horrifying. Imagine going
Scary.
through a small door and then you have buttons on your eyes, or your whole family has buttons on it, and they're trying to sew it onto you.
How about James and the Giant Peach?
Oh my God. I can do you one better. The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, I kind of like the
No.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
We watched it on the plane. It was like on one of the stations,
It's
and
always on.
I know. And at the end of it, people were like the like, I don't know, what's that bug man? He looks like the sack. He's like the evil guy.
Yeah,
In the film. I don't
yeah.
think he's a Sandman or something.
He's literally just a
He
sack.
had like bugs coming out of his mouth, his eyes. It is horrifying.
It's definitely not a Christmas.
But you know what
movie.
show we do love to watch right now?
Jersey Shore.
Jersey
I feel like
Shore.
every week that we come on this podcast, we're obsessed with a new thing.
Yeah.
This week, it's Jersey Shore. And let me tell you
Mhm.
guys, this is the fourth time
Fourth
time watching it from start to finish.
No,
And it
outside of
gets-
season 3.
it-
First to end.
Yeah, and it gets funnier every time.
It is so good. I don't understand how you know what it just reality shows then are so different from how they are today.
One episode of Jersey Shore would never be allowed on TV today.
No.
It just would never happen.
Like the things that were like the sex
just
stuff that happens in that.
calling girls grenades.
You
Like that, you
can't.
can't do
Like
that.
she smells, so I kicked her out of my bed. I was
It's
just
just
so
It's chef's kiss beautiful. It's so good.
Gym Tan Laundry.
Oh my God.
The cabs are here.
We could go on
Oh, we know all
for
of it.
days, but our guest is about to come on. And when I tell you, and I know we say this just between you and me, I know we say this about a lot of our guests, but this one is an OG. We have been wanting her since before a podcast was even
And this
invented.
is not that we were lying before, but this was like the one we really
and
wanted.
you know, sometimes you just throw a name out there. It's a reach. It's a dream guest.
A dream guest.
She's too busy. She's booked and busy. She's too fabulous to come on Unwaxed. Somehow we got her on Unwaxed.
We tricked her into coming on our
You
show.
guys, we have the fabulous sex expert, Emily. Sex with Emily is coming on Unwaxed right now. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it.
She's an author and a doctor in human sexuality, but in 2005, she began the podcast Sex with Emily and started approaching the topic of sex and relationships in a friendly, non-judgmental, and open-minded way. It is downloaded more than 1 million times each month, and in November 2018, Sex with Emily launched on SiriusXM. This is Emily Morse.
Hi guys.
Oh my
Thanks for
God,
having me.
Yeah, of
Emily, that
course.
is the most impressive intro I think we've ever read.
I was so impressed. I was like, can I
No.
have that version? No.
Your credentials, I mean, you are like a walking encyclopedia for all things sex, relationships, everything. I mean, it's amazing. You are truly the OG. So we're so lucky to have you on today.
Well, I think it's great what you guys are doing. I love that you're doing your podcast and you're into it. You guys are. So thanks for having me. I'm happy to support. I love
my
to be
God.
on my show. It was so fun. People loved it.
I
So
know,
we're,
you
we're all
guys-
in this together. Thank
Yes,
you for the
we
kind
went-
words.
Oh my God, of course. We went on Emily's show and we had a blast, and we definitely want to continue the conversation here. And I think we should just jump right in, because one of the main things that all of our listeners are constantly coming to Sophia and I for, and it's sometimes hard because they ask a lot of confidence questions. And we're very honest and we say, we don't have all of the confidence all of the time. So we
Right.
would, we would love your advice to sort
Yeah.
of jump in here, because mostly what people are concerned about is confidence in the relationship, therefore confidence in the bedroom, because it all sort of
Right.
plays hand in hand. So when
Yeah.
you're lacking it, what do you do?
Well, here's the good news is that confidence isn't something that you just get one day and you check it off the
Mhm.
list. And now I'm confident. Let me work on other things. It's like your self-esteem, it's all tied in, your self-esteem and your confidence. And so I think the first thing is like okay, if we're talking about relationships and dating, like I guess people are like, does he like me? Does he not? I always say, like, assume that he likes you. Just He's going out with
Right.
you. Don't
Yeah.
obsess on the details. Don't analyze every single text. And just make that assumption. Like, he asked me out, we're going out. And then you're not in your head as much. And these are might even have to be something that you're writing down before you go on the date.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? When we, like,
Yeah.
I said this, he's not going to like me. Because let me tell you this, they might not like you. And it might not work out. It's never for the things you obsessed about. It's never for the thing you wore, said, how drunk you were. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
And so you can't control it. And then we obsess.
That just makes so much sense.
It does.
No, it seriously does, because I think as females, I know Sophia and I do this a lot, where someone will text us, we'll overthink it, we'll analyze it, we'll pick it apart, and they're probably just saying, hey, what's up? We're like, do they mean, hey, what's up? Like, do you want to go out? Do you want to have sex? Like, what do you mean, hey, what's up? You're so right. So just assume that they like you and just play. Okay, so what do you feel about?
That's confident, right? Yeah. I mean,
totally.
Yeah. And then,
So
yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, because the thing that comes after that is just know that if it doesn't work out, it's not because it just means it wasn't right. Like, I always think if it doesn't happen, like, have you ever heard the saying, like, God's rejection is God's protection? I'm not even that religious, but it's kind of like if someone rejects you, I'm not religious, but like, I love that rejection is protection. Like, it happened for a reason. It happened. Doesn't matter why.
totally
It's
believe
not
that.
about you. You'll probably never know. And it's not because you did anything wrong.
I totally agree.
Absolutely.
We had actually Clint Coley come on our show, and it was our episode Advice from a Fuckboy. So having the male point of view, he literally said the same thing. He goes,
You did?
if I go out with a girl and it doesn't work out, it's not because, he goes, she always gets offended. Why don't you like me? And he goes, you're a great person, but we're just not great together. Doesn't mean you're a bad individual. So totally.
Exactly. We take it in like, oh, I did something wrong and I got to change and I got to dress different and I got to lose weight or I got to gain weight, like whatever. And it's just never that. I love that.
And that can
perfect.
and totally translate into the bedroom too, is because you feel like you have this pressure to perform and you're like, I got to be sexy, this. And in real life, we just need to act confident.
Be present. No, but in the bedroom, you guys look beautiful. But in the bedroom, it's like, this is also a practice. Like, everyone go easy on yourself because it's awkward. It's weird. It's messy. Things are going to happen. But the most important thing is, like, even if you get in your head, like, you don't want to be tripping in the bedroom. You just want to be like in your body. What feels good to me? How do I want to move? Am I enjoying this moment? It's not about what they want. Because and I can tell you this too, most guys, they just want to know that they're making you that you're actually feeling good. They don't like if they knew that you were like, we were faking orgasms, we got to talk about this. I've done all the things, but that's just stoking their ego. And then if you think about how we are like sisterhood, you're like, well, now I faked it. And now he's going to go off thinking he's this wonderful lover. So I might as well just kind of make him work for my pleasure.
Yeah, let's humble him. You are not a wonderful lover. Work for it. That is so funny.
You get used to also doing that yourself, because it's like, oh, if I don't make him think that he's doing amazing, then he's never going to want to do it again. And that's the complete opposite. I mean, like, you want to be critiqued. Like, I want to be told if I was doing something wrong. I want to be told if, like, this doesn't feel great.
Do you think that's the best way to approach it, is to ask a guy, what can I do better?
Yeah, I mean, I think the conversation about sex, I think it could be like, let's talk about sex. That was hot. So what are you into? Like, what felt good? And then hopefully they'll ask you what felt good. You can be like, I'm learning. You guys, I always tell people, and they do this, blame me. We interviewed Emily Morse. She's got and it made me think, I've never done this before. And I want to actually talk about sex. Do you mind practicing with me? I've never talked to a partner about sex, because no one has. It's not like he's going to be like, well, every other woman I've been with, no one's done this. But this is the movement. Like, this is what, just be like, so what was that good? I couldn't tell there because you did that weird wince thing. And then he'd be like, well, what about me? And you could be like, you always want to start the compliment sandwich. Well, I loved the way we were kissing, but I felt like your hand went down my pants a little too quick. Just have fun with it, because then you take away all the anxiety. It becomes a conversation. And so that's how I think the best way. And then it becomes fun to talk about. Then you're in a dialogue about it. You're not guessing.
Okay. Yes. That is great advice. I'm going to do this. I'm going to hope all my listeners do this.
Blame me.
If we are too afraid, we're going to say, Emily told us.
Do it. Yeah,
that's perfect.
Totally okay. She gave us an assignment. Will you practice with me? You could use that.
Oh my God.
Years.
I love that.
And if you start out the conversation with sex, if you've never done it with your partner, in already a lighthearted, open-minded,
kind of silly,
it's going to end up being that way. If you go into it with such negativity and like, self-consciousness and things like that, they're going to also be weaseling their way around getting to what they actually
Right.
want to say. So it's sex. It's not like
It's
this is
sex.
life or death. It's supposed to be
No.
fun. We do it for
Right.
fun. We do it for like procreation. There's like a lot of things.
I think though today
It
the
has to
way
be fun.
I know,
agree,
everyone puts
and
so
I
much stress
think
on it.
I think the way our generation perceives sex is so overthought, and there's so much insecurity and awkwardness behind it. And I feel like the way it used to be was just free and love and do what you want and do what feels good, and it doesn't matter the number of sexual partners, it doesn't matter what you're into. Like everyone's, I think there's some shame, I think, behind being open about having sex today. Why do you think that is?
Bring it back. I mean, I'm saying like this is what I want. Like if we're thinking free love, not that there weren't problems, but yeah, bring that back. Like feel good. Why do I think that is? Well, I have to say that, I mean, it's probably because, and why it's always been this way, even in the 60s when we're like, oh, free love, there's still a lot of shame around sex. There's still, and I think it all goes back to comprehensive sex education. Like, think about it. You guys didn't have great sex ed, probably. You had like maybe a few things.
We can get into that. Yeah.
Don't get pregnant. Don't get an STD or whatever it is. And then you maybe saw sex at a really young age, right? Like on porn, or you saw porn at like 9 years old, but it popped up on the iPad. You're like, what the hell? But then there's no one talking. There's no conversations about it. There's no communication. You're not going to like talk to your parents about it in a way that's about like, oh, this felt good, mom. Like maybe it's about protection and be a good, whatever. So there's no information. And the information you do get is from porn, which by the way, is not an accurate portrayal of sex at all. It's made by men for men, not bashing porn. It's got some good assets, but it's not. So you guys are left out and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be sexy. And what does that even mean?
It's true.
And so you're kind of like,
pressure,
pressure. I think it's just pressure. I mean, there's so many reasons why, but I think there's pressure to perform and there's not a correction of misinformation.
And I feel like a lot of what my friends have mentioned to me before about like even just sex, let's just say if it's whether it's a one night stand to a relationship, I think people are also scared of being seen and told about like they're bad at sex, and so they think that they have to be great, so then in case that guy tells like another person
in the age of technology, everyone knows everything
about it. So it's like,
oh my god,
if I don't do well, right, I'm going to be seen as bad. And it's unfortunate that things just can't be between two people, and some things are. Some people are respectable, like you don't kiss and tell, but that's also another case. But when you mentioned before about porn not being accurate, Sistine and I wrote this down. We were thinking about media in general not being
like
accurate.
Realistic versus non-realistic sex, because again, our health ed was just trash. I mean, I learned nothing. I didn't understand anything until I was like halfway through high school, and I would only learn from watching film and TV shows. And if a porn ad popped up, I was like, whoa, like what is happening right now? But it was, you're right. It started this dialogue that women have to have giant F-cup boobs and be sexual all the time in a blonde bombshell to be attractive. So for example, if you see a movie and they're having amazing, mind-blowing sex, you're like, oh my God. They're
in an elevator, it takes her 2 seconds, they climax.
How realistic is this?
It's not real. It is not real. There is no way a woman's going to have an orgasm 2 minutes in 30 seconds in an elevator. Quickies, while they're fun because they're spontaneous, it is not the best sex of anyone's life. The sex that we see in Hollywood, in the movies and stuff, is so not. You don't see the foreplay, the warm up, the building, the kissing, the when someone's in the mood, someone's not in the mood. The only thing I've seen, like, did you guys see Bridgerton? Bridgerton, which is it's on Netflix. And the reason why people are talking about it right now, they're talking about it's Shonda Rhimes' new show, and it's like 18th century. So the reason they're talking about it, which I think is great, is because it's literally one of the only times I've seen this. And I was watching it with my parents in Florida, so it was a little weird, even for me. But it's that the prince, right, who's with the princess, whatever she is, and he was like, no, before they had sex, he said, I want you to touch yourself. I want you to figure out what you want. And then when they have the sex scenes, he goes down on her, and he'll just do that for like 15, 20 minutes. He's like, in my mind, it was longer than you normally see. It wasn't the whole episode. And then he's like, no, I don't need anything. And he gets up and walks. It's like, that's because we women, like, the thing is that men and women we're so, like, what we don't get also is that our arousal is so different. We don't just, like, men are frying pans and women are slow cookers. So it's like men are like turned on. women, the way our biology is, like, we need a little bit more. We need kissing, we need compliments, we need whatever we need.
Yes.
So it is
Yeah.
just not realistic. You don't see the real thing. Now, of course, sex can like look like certain, like, yes, there's the positions that you see are accurate, but as far as the whole picture, it's just not accurate.
That's so funny that you brought up Bridgerton, because I'm watching it right now, and
Okay.
the whole internet was freaking out about these sex scenes. And I was on episode 6, and I'm like, where is the sex here? I don't see any of it. And then episode 7, my God, it just hits you in
See,
the
I haven't
face.
seen it yet. Cecile told me, she's like,
Oh,
just keep going,
Just
watch it
Gotta
through.
keep
It'll
going. You gotta
pop
slug
up.
through 6
It's
episodes.
slug
Gotta keep
through.
going.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
We're like episode 1. Just give it to us already.
But it's so funny that you
Did
said,
you see it? Yeah, it's like
oh,
different.
oh my
right?
God, did I
You're
see
like,
it?
what?
I understood why it was so hyped up. I was like, okay, men take notes. This is good. We like this. This is good.
Right.
No, but it's so funny that you said like women are such like, you know, it takes a lot to turn you on, and it's hard. So I always say you gotta preheat the oven before you bake a cake. Some people just try to like expect a cake
Right,
to
they
rise
shove
when
it.
there's nothing. You didn't put the flour, the baking soda, there's no heat. Like, what do you? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. We got to be warmed up. We can't go from 0 to 60 at all. And so but the problem is, and this is what I remember mostly. Oh, okay. I was going to say mostly in my 20s, but it can still happen, because I just want to like reinforce to you and like all your listeners that even like people think they know in your 20s, like they might think they know like what to do, but they probably don't. And what makes you good at sex is being a good listener and being present and experience. Like, you don't have as much experience. Even if you slept with
Yeah.
100 women, that doesn't mean you're a good lover. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's
Totally,
yeah.
that's the flip on it. But what I was going to say is, oh God, I forgot. What was my question about?
You said being in your 20s.
Oh, yeah, like that. Oh, so what I found is a sex, and I said it happens everywhere, is that you make out for 2 seconds and you're so into the kiss. Like, it's amazing. And then all of a sudden they're ripping your clothes off. They're not even touching your breasts, and they're going right down your pants and wanting to stick it in. And I'm telling you, for the majority of women who have vulvas, vaginas, it's like, we're not ready for it. We're not, like, it feels good, but is it the best sex of our life when you go from 0 to penetration? No. What is when there's some teasing, there's an anticipation, there's a buildup. They're touching your breast over your shirt. They're kissing your neck. Like, we have so many there's that. It's not the wham bam. And I feel like I went for so many years. I was like, okay, fine, do it, go in. Not that I didn't like it, but now you realize, no, we need warm up.
I often think, do you think maybe it's the older you get, the wiser you get with it? Because I'll have a conversation with my friends and they'll explain that exact scenario. Like, there was no foreplay, it just happened, it wasn't great. But do you think men are like a fine wine? Like, the older that they get, the more experience, and then the more they want to satisfy a lady?
Well, you know what I found?
50,
I found
50.
that men who have been in long-term relationships, they had a woman who a long-term relationship with a woman who knew this stuff. They learned it from her. They're like, okay, well, now I know how to please a woman because someone taught me that. Or maybe they had a great mom who taught them. Like, but typically, like, who explained to them that women need this. But I'd like to say it's as they get older, they get better, but it's usually they have to be interested in it. They have to pay attention. They have to maybe do some research. Maybe they listen to like my podcast. But it's not a natural thing, because I was going to just say in your 20s, but I've been guiding in his 40s, and I'm like, could you just go like binge on my podcast for like, listen to 30 episodes, then come back and talk to me? Because like you're not going to find it out by just glowing about your life. And because those women, which is why I want you guys to start this with your next date, the next guy you hook up with, because they still don't know. So you can start that with your friends and your generation and just say, like, this is not, you know, let them text and tweet and say like, oh, she sucks. She went, fuck it. Like, that's a price you have to pay to train a whole new generation of men how to be wonderful lovers. And like, I'm putting everyone up to the task.
That's a risk we're willing to take.
We have to, but it's do it. I think that also on the girls' side, for guys, I think guys like to be touched and kissed and talked to as well.
Exactly.
So it's on both ends. It's like they like the slow burn too. Maybe they don't do it often, and they can go from 0 to 100, but it's a different experience. You guys are growing and learning more about each other. It's all explorative. Like, that's the entire thing about sex, why it's so fun, is that there's different areas that you're like, oh shit, I didn't know I liked that, or I didn't know I liked hearing her say that. So it's just a shame that no one really jumps into it unless they're super comfortable talking about
And that's
sex.
probably a good way to introduce it to them you know, you don't directly want to say, hey, talk to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So talking on sort of sex, relationships, dating, that was a good transition. I would like to pull a quote from my Bible, Sex and the City. I pray by this.
I love it.
They said, why withholding from sex in a relationship could be a good thing or not, right? So according to Sex and the City, who made up this 3-date rule, they made it famous, saying sleep with someone earlier and you appear too eager. Leave it too long and you've wasted your time if they turn out to be a dud in bed. Now, this could be like, it could go either way, because sometimes, you know, there's nothing wrong with having sex at the first date and there's nothing wrong with waiting 4 months to have sex. But is there a perfect sort of happy medium here?
I'd say the happiest medium is when you feel safe with someone. You feel like this is a safe choice. Not like they're your like love. I feel safe. I feel turned on, and I've had like, and I feel like I trust this person no matter what happens. I think this is about women. I feel that I want to, and I'm making the decision with a clear mind, a clear heart, and I'm going to have sex right now. Like, I'm going to do it. But I think it's the times where we wait too long because we're playing a game, or we go too quick because we don't want them not to like us, or we get too drunk. I mean, believe me, like, I've done all the things, right? You get drunk, you're like, why did I do that? Because you lose your inhibition. So I think, you know, generally, I think the rule is when I don't believe in these rules, like wait till the 4th date or no sex before commitment. To answer your question, I think it's when you feel ready and you're not pressured. It's not outside things. It's not because I want something else from this person. It's like, no, I actually feel good with this person and I want to do it. Now, I think, yes, people have sex on the first date and they get married and stay together forever. All the time you hear those stories. But I think generally what I love is I like to wait until, and not by rule, but I'm saying what I've found in time, and is that like, I want to get to know someone. I want to know, like, I love, like when we make out, we want to like tease in the sense of the anticipation till the next time I see them, and getting to know who they are as a person. What are they into? Do I have fun with them? Because what can happen is when we do have sex too quickly, sometimes like on the first date, then we barely know the person, but we get attached to the sex. And then we're like, oh my God, it was so hot. Or we think I want to correct what happened. And then it gets messier. So just to be like, you know, I liked hooking up with them and not going all the way or whatever it is. It's like, I feel like that generally is something to think about, that you don't want to win anything and pay attention to your body and what you want.
Absolutely. I always think about it's always the mindset you're going to go into it. I feel like you do have an idea of how you want to maybe go. Maybe sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't even think I was going to end up doing it, but I felt it in the moment and I wanted to do it. So if this is a guy that maybe you're like really just feeling it right off the bat and it's just that sexual energy and everything's going to go for it, but know what is going to maybe happen later. The dynamic could be different. And maybe
the fear of him not calling you back is
things like that.
Be okay with him not calling you. I think that's a good thing. Like, say, like, you know what? I'm doing this because I want to. And really believe it. If I don't hear from him tomorrow, fine. If I never see him again, my entire body, 100%, I'm making this decision to consensually have sex. I will take the repercussion, whatever happens, because I wanted it. It's like you went to a movie, like, and you're like, I decided to go to a movie tonight. If it sucks, that's fine. I'll eat the $20 to go in the theater, and I'm gonna go. It's like that kind of thing. It's a risk, it's a thing, but you wanted it. So
that's great advice. That is honestly such good advice, and I think a lot of people will seriously do that. I know I'm going to do that too, because there is like this weird pressure. I think, at least for me, no one puts it on me that I put on myself.
I do too. I think we both have pressures in different ways. Like for me, I'm always thinking I need to make sure this guy is fully committed, ready to go. Like if I do sleep with him, he won't leave. Like there's a lot of layers.
It's just not setting that expectation for that person.
Because I do like having a connection with someone. Like I do. That's something.
Well, it makes it better.
It does. That's true. I think most of us. I think most of us would say, and including men, but I can't speak for everyone, but like when we have a genuine connection and we like the person and we feel safe with them, I think safety is a big thing too. You know, most women, and this is like, you know, scientific studies, they have the data that women are more likely to have more pleasure and more orgasms when they're with a partner that they feel safe with. And so typically you don't So that's why the elevator sex or the first night sex, it's going to be good, but is it going to be the best sex of your life? It's going to get better after that.
Absolutely.
Very good point. Okay, well, we're going to move on to listener questions. There were heaps of them that came in when we told people that you were coming on. So we'll just do a few. Give your advice. Cool. Okay. So the first one is reasons for why people cheat. Is it me or them? And how to move forward and not carry that into the next relationship.
People cheat for so many reasons. And it's like people are going to cheat, again, not about you. It's about them. It's about their own insecurities, their own stuff they haven't worked through. It could be because they want attention, or it's because it felt good in the moment, or they were drinking, or they are fear of a vulnerability or connection. Like there's so many reasons why people cheat, but I just, there's not one like, oh, it's because usually we take it on us. And I have found this, that women usually think, well, it's something's wrong with me because I did something wrong or I'm a bad person. And I find more with men, if they get cheated on, and women cheat just as much as men, that they're more like, you know, they don't ever like take that ego stuff. They're more like, oh yeah, you know, I guess, you know, she's an asshole or whatever. Like, but it's all these reasons. I mean, there's not one, but it's not because we did something wrong. It's usually because, well, I don't know. I was going to say that couples, if you're talking about things, if you have healthy communication, not just in the bedroom, not just about sex, but about everything. And you're like, are we in a committed relationship? Do I want to be committed? Did I blindly sign up for monogamy with a guy I've been dating for 6 weeks? And why? Is that what, did I do it to feel safe? Did I do it because I don't want him sleeping with other people, but then do I actually want to be in this relationship? I don't. So I cheated. Like there's so many reasons, but if you are talking to a partner in a real way, like, do we want this? Do we not? What does monogamy look like to you? Then the cheating won't happen as much. And maybe it's okay to sleep with a few people at once. Like that's what, so all the reasons.
Monogamy is tough. Sophia and I have theories about monogamy. We're like, I just don't know how forever is a thing, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
No, you guys, I agree. I don't think that you should in your 20s. I think it's a great time. If you want kids, I get it. I get like, okay, well, we're going to be monogamous. But right now, like have fun and explore. And again, this is not for everybody. You're like, I can't handle that. Then don't. But for some people, it's like, I want to have fun and be honest about it. Because if you met someone on a dating app and you assume that after 3 dates, they're off the app or they're not sleeping with anyone else and you haven't had a conversation, like you're wrong.
Totally. Oh, that was a good answer.
That's a good answer. I love that. So the next one is, if the sex was awkward and bad the first time, do you give it another chance? And which is kind of a weird word, but I get that, because you think about it. If someone's horrible the first time you do it, are they just going to continue? It's like, it's a turn off, honestly, for some people. You're just like, oh God, like, is it off? Is it between us, or is it, so what do you think about that?
You might as well, I'd say if you really like the person, give it another shot, have a conversation about it and just see how it goes a second time, because maybe they were really nervous. Maybe you were really nervous, or maybe you're just two pieces in a puzzle that don't fit together. But you might as well give it another shot, unless it was like horrible and abusive and they were weird and they didn't care about you. And then no, if it's toxic, get out. But if it was just awkward and fumbly, you've never been in the same naked together. So
true. True. This one says, is it bad to fantasize about someone else while in bed with your partner?
It's gonna happen.
I feel like everyone does it.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
Come on, we're human.
It's okay, girl. We all do it.
It's all good. Let it go. Let it go. It's all fine.
Let it go. Okay. Yeah.
The more we accept ourselves and our fantasies and our desires, the much better off we'll be. Just let it go. You're fine.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good point.
What are some of the best foreplay tips to drive your partner crazy?
Are we talking about, you know what? I actually am going to say it's the same. It doesn't matter the gender, but I think do you want to pick a gender? Should we talk about men or a woman to a man?
Since we're all girls, let's just do girls.
Yeah.
I'll take some advice.
So how to do it to a guy, right? Like how to, foreplay tips for a guy? I would say slowing everything down. I would say go 5 times slower. I would slow down the kissing. I would tease. I would, kiss. I would make sure you said, well, I'm thinking about like oral sex, but set an atmosphere. And I would say if they're coming to your house, make sure that everything's clear. Like I love thinking about all the senses being engaged. Like it also gets me in the mood. So I light a candle, I have music playing, maybe I have some like my favorite food out, like chocolate and I make sure that I'm feeling good and I'm wearing something maybe that I feel sexy and not necessarily for them. So to me, it's like, make sure the environment's set up. And then I would say for touch, like just kiss slowly and kiss down there, but I would say do what you would want. So slow it down, undress them, tease, like, touch over their pants, like make them like, want it, beg for it, desire
I think
it.
the slow is, I've never heard that answer. That's actually really genius. Just slow everything down and to do and wear and do what you feel you're sexiest in, because then you'll ooze this different sort of vibe about you, and then they'll be like, oh my God, why is she so attractive right now?
Enjoy it because it's supposed to be a fun time. Like you're supposed to experience this thing together, and you shouldn't rush it.
Totally. And they're dying for someone to take the lead. I mean, think about it. My heart goes out to men because they're like told, I got to make the date. I got to ask them out, have to make the first move. And so if you're a woman and I'm saying you know what you want, because again, we're all on the journey, but in the moment, what you might need to feel in your body, to be ready for someone, a lover, like that's great foreplay.
Yeah, totally. Okay, I think this is the best. We chose this one to answer last because it sort of just makes sense. One great sex tip for people to use in 2021. It could be, it doesn't even have to be about safe sex. It could just be like, let's start a new sex thing, 2021.
What is something like sex?
I would just say communication is lubrication. Talk about sex. And the other thing is use lube. I would love you to talk about sex and have a lube on your nightstand, because women, the lube is better. Lube makes every kind of sex better, whether it's masturbation or oral, everything.
Yeah.
So women have more orgasms. No shame in
that's
lube.
something. The last we had someone come on a couple months ago named Zoe Ligon, and she literally said the same thing. And we never even like talked about lube before.
Lube is underrated, I guess.
I guess it's like
lube.
That's something no
We're
one
sleeping on lube.
Yeah, like get some. I love Pure Lube. It's called PJUR. Pure. Put it on your nightstand. Have it in your thing, and be like I do this now. I will not have any kind of sex. I'm like, okay, let me get the lube. Like it's just in my brain.
Just like
I just
natural.
know.
Yeah.
And they love it too. It's not just like it's the stigma. They think, oh well, lube means she's not turned on because I did something wrong. And your wetness level is not an indicator of how turned on you are, how much you're in the mood. It just means like we're not consistent with our wetness.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
It's a safety.
2021 is the year of lube.
That's Emily's.
Yes.
Do you have one?
Do I have what? A sex tip?
A sex tip for 2021.
Ooh.
Emily's is lube. I have one while you're
what's
thinking.
yours?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bring back FaceTime sex, because we're in coronavirus.
Yes.
Spice it up, social distance.
Yeah. I love it. FaceTime. It's all about that right now, right?
Yeah.
Do it. Slow it down and see
I
if you
think,
even.
yeah. I think Amazon order like fun costumes. I think do role play.
Oh,
like really have fun. I think Corona, hopefully this whole thing lifts, but like really have fun with it. Like just
have fun.
I feel like people are can get a little like nervous about it, but have a drink, put it on,
Yeah.
put a costume
Make sex
on,
fun
grab
again.
your lube.
Make sex fun again this year, I think.
Totally. So this is what hopefully we want all the listeners to do. Order your costumes, grab your lube, and FaceTime your mans or girlfriend.
Exactly.
That's what you're gonna do.
Thank you so much for coming on.
We love you
so fun. I adore you both, and hit me up if you have ever questions. Just like reach. I mean, personally, you know what I'm saying? I got you.
Oh, we will.
I want you guys to win at this.
Thank you so much. We absolutely love you. We'll hopefully see you once this pandemic is lifted.
I know. I want to give you a hug in person.
I know. Well, thanks for coming on again. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye. Good day. Bye.